Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, here with Jesse again this week. You're back.
I'm back, Brandon, and we're here with a special guest. We got Mr. David Boyke from Geneva Capital with us today.
Hey, gents, how we doing?
Hey, happy to have you on the show. Today we're going to talk about how do you make CNC affordable. Jesse, is that possible?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. And David, you're going to help us do it, right?
Yep, no
Awesome.
question.
Well, that's good to hear. You know, I think the thing about having Jesse back is now I have somebody to make fun of again.
Did you miss me?
A little bit.
Trust me, I'd have rather been here.
Yeah, Garrett, he tried. He filled in. He was a little quiet at the beginning, though.
I'm not going to lie to you. I tried to listen to it.
Yeah?
I tried it.
It wasn't the same without you?
It wasn't.
You couldn't hear yourself talk?
I couldn't.
Let's keep it that way.
That's
right.
unfortunate. Did you, the whole time you were gone, did you grow that horrific looking beard?
Why you got to go there?
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. You don't like it?
Well, maybe.
I did this for you.
Oh, that was for me?
It was for you.
Wait, I thought that was just dirt all over your face.
Wow. Okay. Glad to be back, guys.
There you go.
Let's
Welcome
jump into
back.
financing.
It's too
How about
bad
that?
Garrett doesn't have a mic because I'm pretty sure he has a few things to say.
You can see it. The gerbil's on the wheel. It's spinning.
It would be better if you were unconscious.
I have a feeling that he's got some sound clips for you on this one.
Great.
Well,
Can't wait.
yeah, I know. Let's talk about.
Yeah, let's
How to
leave
make
me
seats.
alone. Let's make fun of David.
Well, David's not somebody I want to make fun of. He helps us. You
Fair
don't.
enough.
Yep,
Sorry.
Take your shots wisely, boys.
No, I'm kidding. You help a lot. But yeah, let's talk about how to make CNC affordable. I mean, one thing we have to talk about is employees cost money. The reality is employees aren't free. You know, everybody looks at it as, I'll hire a guy to do that. I don't need to buy a machine. Really, Jesse, is that?
You should probably think about getting a machine.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, talk about employee costs. You know, when you think about the employee costs themselves, they have their salary, whatever you're paying them hourly or salary, whatever you're dealing with. And then are they working for the same amount every single year forever?
No, sir. You're going to have to give them that raise
Oh.
at some point.
Yep, at some point.
We should talk about that.
Nah, I'm sorry, your mic cut out. I didn't hear you. The raises are something you have to think about. Cost of increase there. Their insurance. I mean, let's be honest. You got to provide insurance nowadays. I mean, there's options there that you got to deal with. You know, insurance costs on not only your end but also health insurance, things like that. You got to take into consideration, especially with how hard the job market is right now. I mean, finding good employees right now is hard. I mean, the job market's pretty, high demand right now.
The same thing goes with insurance. It's hard to find good insurance.
Yeah.
You've seen it. It's expensive. It's not cheap.
Exactly. I mean, we just went through that. We were spending a lot of time making sure we could take care of our employees here. And, I'll tell you what, insurance stuff wasn't fun to deal with. So that's another thing that you have to think
I
about.
think that's part of the reason why you have no hair.
That's
Played a
probably
role in it.
part of it. Yeah. Well, the other part of it is I hired you.
No.
But, then think about time off, when they decide to take off on a Monday when we have podcasts.
Time off right now.
Yeah, when we had a
Just a little
podcast. Remember that time you took off on a podcast day? Yeah, I remember that. But, yeah, time off. That's another option. That's a thing you have to think about. And the reality is time off, it's a realistic part of the world. I mean, I give you a hard time about it. Obviously, you and I talk a lot. I mean, you put the hours in and, employees will. But the reality is things come up in their life and they need time off. Whether it's,
absolutely.
Family commitments, whether it's they want to go on vacation, heaven forbid, right?
Right.
And the reality is your business doesn't stop when your employee takes off. Oh, sorry, ma'am, I can't install your cabinets because Jesse took off.
Yeah, we'll get you tomorrow when he's back. Don't worry.
That doesn't work. And so when you think about time off costs you money as a company, and you're not as efficient as a company when a guy's missing. And so when you think about a CNC machine, you don't necessarily lose the time if you have the machine, right?
Absolutely.
And so, the other thing is dependability. Let's be honest.
You're going to hammer this one home too, aren't you?
No, I'm going to leave you alone on this one.
Are you?
Because I'm going to think about, in all seriousness, what about the Monday brain versus the Friday brain versus the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Absolutely.
Right?
You get a different employee every day almost.
And that's what I feel about. Like, the attitude costs you money. Like, if they come into the day because they had an awesome weekend and it takes them half the day to get going because they remember their awesome weekend, right?
Yeah.
Then they finally get going. It's time to go home.
Right.
Then you got Tuesday. You finally get a day out of them. Wednesday, Thursday. Guess what? Friday.
It's
going to be an awesome
Thursday. We have Thursday
Thursday.
now.
So then they come in Friday just not ready to work.
Halfway pie-eyed, right?
Yep, exactly. So now you don't have them here. David, do you ever come in that way?
What's Friday?
Yeah, see? David doesn't even come in on Fridays.
Oh, people do work on Fridays. Oh,
See?
sure.
There we go.
Those banker hours.
Yeah, banker hours, right? But then you think about holidays, and you have the holiday stuff and, let's be honest, like Thanksgiving, a lot of people want to stay home the day after Thanksgiving, right? Well,
yeah, I don't get that.
You don't. We'll see you here.
You'll see me here.
Yeah, but the reality is your machine's still there at the shop. So even if you want to put some hours in, with a machine, you can get a lot more done.
And you don't need anyone there to help you.
There we go. You know, and that's the beauty of this, is that you do have the ability to get a lot more done, you know, even outside of hours, you know, weekends, nights, you know, whatever you have it. Let's be honest, some jobs run long, right?
Right. I mean, we're not here till just 5 o'clock. Sometimes we're here late.
You know, and let's talk about that, you know, hourly wage versus machine payment, right?
Right.
The guy's going to keep costing you money, right?
No matter what.
No matter how many hours you put in, you have to
Clock's
keep
always
paying them.
running
Yeah,
within there.
that clock keeps running. And, you know, so if you spend $40,000 to $60,000 on a machine versus $40,000 to $60,000 on a person, which $40,000 to $60,000 is really cheaper?
The machine.
You know, and that, David, would you not agree with that?
And we're talking $40,000 to $60,000 per machine versus per person per year.
Yeah.
So, you know, the question of capital versus labor substitution, it's not a great fit for every single shop, but as you get busier, unquestionably, you have to take on the machine.
Did you hear that answer he gave us?
That was awesome.
He sounded way better than
Have
you.
you done this before?
I think we're going to turn your mic off and keep him.
You stop it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but no, that's the truth. Like you said, that's a one-time thing. You know, $40,000 to $60,000. You know, and overtime is overtime, right? It doesn't matter. The machine
more
doesn't.
expensive.
Yeah, the machine doesn't charge you extra because you decide to work overtime, right? And you know, you don't have to pay him weekend pay, right? You don't have to pay the machine holiday pay. Like
Correct.
it's there. Your $40,000 to $60,000 is every day of the year, whether you want to use it or not. You have it there.
That's a
40 to
one-time
60K
expense.
for a person is Monday through Friday. It's your 8 to 5, right? You know, if
Right.
you want 6, 7, 8 o'clock, that's going to cost you more. If you want me on a Friday night, you want me on a Saturday morning, it costs you more, right?
Right.
And so you start looking at that, and the machine ends up being cheaper. And then you break it down as, you know, let's look at the Friday night. Let's talk about Friday night, right? Friday night comes along, and the job that you were working on all week long is almost done. If you got employees, they probably have plans for the weekend, right?
Right. I'm cutting out early. I'm going up to the cabin.
Yeah, and you know that's the reality of what it is. As a business owner, you run your business. You don't just cut out early and I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, we didn't get your stuff done because I got to go to the cabin, right?
Yeah, we'll get her Monday.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't really go over real hot. So the reality is you know you can continue that job. You can get it done. And you know the other thing is let's be honest. If you're outsourcing work, how many guys do you hear that outsource their brackets from their plasma machines or I have a guy with the laser cutting
It's
it.
common. There's a permanent oil spot on my desk from where I bang my head.
Yeah, I mean it's seriously when you start thinking about that, it's a real situation that people are outsourcing, right?
Yeah.
And then the parts don't show up,
Right?
or they show up wrong, damaged.
Or the guy doing the cutting took a day off, and now you can't get your parts from the
Yeah,
outsource guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
He went to grow a beard.
So what I'm hearing from you
knocked
guys
it
is, what I'm hearing is that without having your own machine, you're at the mercy of other people's lead times and quality control, and that to bring this machine into your shop could be a game changer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's nailed it. David is killing
crushing it.
Yeah, but the
Would you like to join us permanently?
yeah, I think you should join us permanently. But controlling your own destiny is exactly where I was going with that. Exactly. You don't have time to wait on somebody else, especially in today's world. Like the supply, we talked about this last week.
You say it every week.
Yeah.
I want it today, but I want it made yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yep. You decided that you need it today, but didn't you ship it yesterday?
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't do that. So the reality is starting to plan for the stuff in the supply chain. Garrett and I talked about that a little bit last week, was the supply chain world. Like, control your own destiny as much as you can. That's why ShopSabre builds machines in the USA.
Right.
Because I don't want to depend on other people.
No, you don't.
You know, you start looking at these Chinese machines and some of the stuff we've talked about in the past, and you're dependent on what they're willing to do. Well, the same goes for you. If you're not willing to bring it in-house and manufacture it, you're going to depend on somebody else, and now your reputation. Do you think Mrs. Smith cares that Derek down the street took off to go fishing and didn't cut your cabinet?
No, she doesn't.
No, she only bought it from you. So Mrs. Smith is mad at you, not at Derek down the street.
Absolutely.
Whose reputation is Mrs. Smith going online about?
You become the middleman, and that's
Yeah.
just not a place that's fun to be.
Yeah, if I want a middleman, I'll go to Home Depot.
Right.
I'll just buy something from them.
Absolutely.
I go to custom cabinet builders and I go to, Jake's cabinet shop because I want Jake to build me something that I can't go buy at Home Depot.
Right. You want Jake's reputation with that.
Exactly, and that's what you're doing. You're controlling your destiny by owning a machine, and you talk about cost of operation. The overhead of those people. Like I said, it's not just the people themselves, but people require space.
They do.
So now you have to have more space. Typically, as you grow, you're going to have more expectations. Let's be honest. Employees don't always get along, right?
Correct.
Unless you're at ShopSabre.
Unless you're at ShopSabre.
Our guys get along.
It's
yeah.
a constant party.
Yeah, it's an awesome time here. Garrett, I know you get along with everybody, right? Shaking his head yes.
Yeah.
That's good. Too bad you don't have a mic over there, Garrett. You missing it? But
You look sad.
he looks sad.
He does look sad.
Maybe it's the hair.
It maybe is his
That
hair.
bright orange hair.
Gingers are beautiful.
But the reality is with employees, you have more babysitting. You're having to babysit a lot. You're having to figure out who's showing up, who was late, who didn't get the job done. It's finger pointing. Hey, I did it, but so and so didn't do it, or this didn't get done right because of so and so. And then you get that animosity, and you get two guys who you got two rock stars. Let's be honest. If you have a rock star on your team and you bring in another rock star, it's pretty rare you find a rock star that's got an attitude willing to take on another rock star.
That's true.
It's competitive, and then you end up in a situation where you got to keep them both happy because you can't afford to lose either one of them, but it's just not fun.
It sounds like wasted time.
Exactly. And then time is money, and this is where I come back to. The machine doesn't care if you bring in a rock star. Bring in two machines, and the machine doesn't care.
No, it doesn't get jealous.
It just keeps working. And that's the beauty of this. And let's just talk about it. Safety, is that not something we should think about here?
Right. You have employees. What do you have to worry about?
Yep.
Injuries.
Yeah, and
right?
people always think, oh, the CNC machine is going to be dangerous. The CNC machine is safer than your guy running without the CNC machine.
Very true.
You got to talk about overworked employees make mistakes, right?
Yes, they
Remember
do.
that employee that you had 8 to 5, and now you asked him to stay till 8 on a Friday?
Can I use that excuse?
No.
Okay.
But the reality is, would you just stop over there? No. you already had, I already
I
gave you,
missed you. I missed this. I missed you.
I already gave you Beard Monday. I'm sorry.
You're going to stick with this beard thing. aren't
It's
you?
just, I'm going to buy you
I
a
might
razor.
donate this to you. You could glue it to the top of your head.
Well, I don't think it'll match. I'm sorry.
Look like you have a perm.
Yeah, look, I have a perm.
You don't have enough on your face to cover his head.
That's
Can
true.
we not let David come back next time?
I like David.
I bet you do.
He's staying. But yeah, you talk about the safety side of things. Like I said, they make mistakes. And
Right.
when mistakes happen, when you're thinking about other things, and sometimes it's not even you've done anything wrong as a business owner. You might be the greatest business owner, but every employee has their own life
Yep.
and their own problems.
Yep.
So if the dog crapped on the floor before they came to work, they're mad at the dog when they come to work, right?
Right.
That's on their mind. It gives them something to think
Maybe
about.
on their shoe, too.
Yeah, it might be on their shoe, their clothes, who knows? But yeah, we all, I have kids, you have kids, right? David,
Yep.
you got kids?
3 kids.
All right, we'll talk about that in a second. But all of us have kids, apparently. And let's be honest, if the kid pisses you off, it's on your mind.
You've seen it.
Yeah, it's something that happens. And regardless if you want to get over it or not, it's still there, And my thing is it defocuses you from the task at hand. And now you're running a table saw, and
Now someone's missing 4 fingers.
yeah, exactly. Now you have a situation, and that's the reality is with the CNC machine, the machine has sensors in place. It warns you when you make a mistake. It gives you, let's be honest, if you stick your hand in a CNC machine, you are going to probably end up with 4 fingers. Don't stick your hand in a CNC machine.
It doesn't turn out well.
But you don't have to handle the material as much with a CNC machine. So the likelihood of that happening is a lot lower than with the hand, with the table saws and whatnot. You're handling the material.
Right.
And
you're closer to that blade, too.
you
right?
are. Yeah, and you talk about handling the material more, which means higher risks for mistakes.
That's how it works. Every time you touch it, there's a chance for injury.
Correct. And so the less I have to touch the material, the better chances I have of
Absolutely.
not getting hurt. Not to mention, when you start looking at the productivity, as I mentioned, of Monday and Fridays versus Tuesday through Wednesday, they're not going to move as fast on certain days.
Very true.
So now your speed of your production is dependent on the day, the holiday, whatever's going on. Where with the CNC machine, it doesn't care if it's Monday at 7 a.m. or if it's Friday at 3 p.m. It doesn't care. It's the same speed all the time.
Same performance.
Yeah.
Time after time.
Yep. And then, again, no holiday or weekend brains. It doesn't know it's Christmas and it's working. How many of you guys are, listening or running shops, and your shop's at your house. So you get done eating and you go outside because why not, right?
Yep.
Gets away from the in-laws.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad thing.
My favorite place to be is outside.
There you go. And then you get to work on your business. The CNC machine makes it so now your employee's at work when you're ready. It's sitting there waiting. It's like the dog.
It's like excited to see you.
Yeah, it's
when
like
you come
so
in the
excited.
morning.
It's
Fire
like,
me up,
yeah.
boss. Fire me up.
Yeah, it's like wiggling its little tail at you, like, hey, come on. And then the other thing that you have to think about here with it is, as you get into your day-to-day routines, the machine becomes a part of it. It's not, how many people tell you, like, they're scared to learn how to run a machine, right?
Right.
It's a daily part of your, how many people.
becomes normal.
You had to learn how to build a cabinet or how to build that bracket or whatever you were doing. You had to learn that one time.
Correct.
Just learn to use the new tool.
Exactly.
Once you know how to use the tool, it's repetitive though. Like if I have to cut that base cabinet 10 times, it's going to come out the same every single time because
time.
it's the same file.
Right.
You cut 10 base cabinets with a guy, is it the same?
No, you're going to have variances between each one of those cabinets.
Yeah. So as you start breaking it down, how do we make CNC affordable? Well, CNC is affordable already because if you're doing anything with any amount of labor, it's cheaper to use a CNC machine most of the time.
Most of the time.
And obviously there's certain applications that maybe it makes sense to do it the other way, but the majority of it is the machine is going to be faster, more efficient. And one thing we hear from people is, well, I just don't have the cash today. That's where David comes in.
Well, we know a guy.
Yeah.
So we've had this conversation with all your customers multiple times, but everybody looks at money a little bit differently, and different people have different levels of confidence in their ability to generate a substantial return in income with the machine. You talked a little bit about hourly wages. Do you ever hear from those businesses that they think of this as a $5 per hour employee or a $3 per hour employee when they run it at scale, say 50, 60, 70 hours worth of machine time each week?
Yeah, and that's the truth. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly something that I actually talked about, and I know, Jesse, you talked to your customer about that too, is that, yeah, really, depending on how much you're running your shop, it breaks down to exactly a $5 an hour employee.
Right.
What are you getting for $5 out there right now as an employee?
I don't think you can find that. I think
it doesn't
the minimum
exist.
wage is like $15 an hour.
It seems like it's getting there. I mean, you can't get the employee. And now find me a skilled laborer. You tell me one
$5 an hour.
Exactly. You show me one skilled laborer at $5 an hour. I'll wait.
You're not going to find it. You're going to be waiting for a long time.
Exactly. It doesn't exist. And that's the reality is if you're going to go hire a skilled laborer, you're going to spend 60, 70, 80 grand a year.
But on the other note, how many people out there would hire a skilled laborer for $5 an hour?
No, exactly.
Everybody. Everyone's hands are up. I'd take it.
Exactly.
Right? As a business, whether you learn it today or whether you learn it years down the road, you get what you paid for. And if you're going to hire on $10, $15 per hour employees, if the law even lets you, that's the quality of labor you get. Same thing if you buy a $20,000 machine when you should have bought a $40,000 machine or a $50,000 machine, chances are you're going to get that same ultra low quality.
That's exactly it. And, the one thing I was going to touch on there, too, and I love it, is that the other thing you need to think about with employees, the risk of losing the employee. You become so dependent on that employee because they're your skilled laborer. Well, if they're as good as you say they are, there's other shops that want them.
Absolutely.
And now your $10 employee, your $15 employee, probably can get 25 somewhere else, can probably get 30 somewhere else, and they're going to continuously shop themselves. So you might have them for a year. And let's be honest, if they're as smart as you say they are and they're as good as they are, they're gonna leave you because at $10 to $15 an hour, they're not gonna stay. They're worth more.
Or they're gonna come ask you for that raise.
Correct, that raise that we talked about, and it's just there is cost that drives. Keep your good employees. I'm not saying get rid of anybody.
Right.
That's not what we're saying here. Employees are necessary. You still have to have people run machines and whatnot, but you can take people that don't have any CNC experience and teach them how to run a machine, and then it gives them a better job. You are a better place to work because he's not doing it the hard way all day long. It's not manual labor all day long and wearing his body out. It's a lot easier on him as well. So your good employee wants to stick it out because even if somebody will give him $5 more an hour, you got a CNC machine. His job is less stressful and less, work on his body, let's be honest with you, to do it there. And, same with the machine side of it. We hear it so many times. Like, I can't afford to buy the $40,000 version. What do you got for 20?
You can't afford to not buy the $40,000 machine.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't afford not to. Exactly. That's what we always tell everybody. Like, check us out. You can't afford not to check us out. Like, really, when you look at it, yes, there's cheaper machines out there. There's cheaper machines out there. You can go as we've talked about, Jesse. There's
We tell
wooden
our
machines.
customers that.
There's wooden machines.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. One of my favorite ones to look at is that machine.
Yeah, there's wooden machines out there. You can go as low as you want to go, right? Well, right now, a wooden machine's almost as expensive as a metal one because I think
Probably
wood's
more.
it's through the roof right now. But the reality is, you can go really cheap, but you get what you pay for. And so the reality is finance what you need or pay what you can out of pocket. And I'm going to let, David take over a little bit here. He's the genius of it. But, when you look at Geneva, who is Geneva? When we ask that question, who is Geneva? Let's give a little bit of background on Geneva so we can talk a little bit about the ways to make CNC affordable here. But tell us a little bit about that, David.
Sure. Well, Geneva's was formed in 2000, so just hit our 21st year in business this year. We're going to have a 20-year party, but COVID kind of put the damper on that, so you guys are all invited to.
Yes.
We say number 21's more fun than 20 anyway.
There we go.
Have a nice party
excited.
this summer, but
Shots. No, not that kind. Okay, my bad.
there will be a live band and plenty of drinking. So
Excellent. There we go.
There will be shots.
Shots.
There will be. So, in a nutshell, Geneva is a direct lender. So we're kind of like a bank. We only do equipment for businesses, commercial lender only. Work with a lot of your the full range of different customers. So as you can imagine, in this industry, we have the A+ credit, 20 years in business, 50 employees, $1 million in the bank. And we have the guy that's just getting started out of his garage, maybe has some experience in the trades, but looking to make maybe a couple $100 worth of income each month. And we have everybody in between. And so our goal is to provide, and I think you guys could agree that we, put our money where our mouth is. 90% of the time, if you apply with us, you will get approved, and 70% of those customers will move forward with our offer. So if you're that real strong business, you'll see that bank quality rate 5-6% through Geneva. If you're a startup or a hobbyist or have challenge credit, we'll still get the deal done. You pay less than half of what you would on a credit card.
Well, that's exactly it. That's what I try to talk about. Is that I hear so many companies like, oh, I don't have any time in business. I can't get finance. Like, nope, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
Like, there are a lot of banks out there that don't get you finance. And I think it kind of takes everybody's excitement in banking down because they're so used to being screwed. Let's be honest with it. Like, It's just not fun. Like, you go to the bank and they just take advantage of you. But like with Geneva, that's, I think, what really sells me on Geneva as a partner is that I've had such a tremendous success with them that customers aren't, there's nothing worse, as a CNC company, like you get everybody excited about the machine. They know they need it. They come to you like, we're ready to do something. They go to the bank and the bank turns them down.
Declined.
Yeah. Like that's the worst feeling. What I love about it with David over here, and his whole team is I don't have to give that bad news ever really. It's pretty rare. I think in the whole time I've been doing it, it's like one that I've had, it's pretty rare. And, Jesse, have you ever had a decline with them?
I just thought for a second, I don't think I've ever had a decline with them.
And that's awesome. I mean, when you think about that, they have a solution for anybody. And like he said, A+ credit down to new startup company, and let's be honest, there's certain scenarios out there that you just aren't getting financing. But it.
Right.
It's not like they're the only ones. But the reality is there's a lot of cases where I've heard banks like, oh, we need to see 75 months worth of bank statement, or some crazy amount. You know what I'm saying? They make you jump through the hoops, and these guys are like, we got them approved. It took us 30 minutes.
And what you guys, as a lender, what we've been able to do is to really lean on the quality of the machine, and so we can go into an application where the FICO's maybe low 600s or even into the 500s. Maybe they only have a year in business or two, and knowing that that machine is going to be worth 70 to 80 cents on the dollar for years to come gives us a place to hang our hat. The other thing that we've seen is that people are extremely successful with the machine, and so if we can help put this into your hands to generate revenue for your business, you're going to succeed. ShopSabre is going to sell a machine, and chances are we'll write another, second or third machine for you down the road.
That's exactly it. And that's, I think, the thing that a lot of banks have lost today is that you have that relationship. David and I and Jesse, I know you've talked about it too. We always talk about the backstory, right? How many people, they just look at the paper, and what's on paper is all they care about, right? Oh, sorry, he's a 580. We don't care anymore.
Yep.
What's the backstory? What happened? Well, he went through a divorce, or, he had a family illness that happened, and unfortunately, COVID happened. Things happen, and Geneva's been like, let's understand it first.
Absolutely.
Okay, we look at his trailing 20 years, and he's been phenomenal until this life event happened. And yeah, his credit looks poor, but the guy's a rock star. Let's get him back up and let's work together to do it. That's what I love about Geneva. And, that kind of leaves me to, kind of what makes Geneva unique. In my opinion, it's the people.
I'll agree with you. They're very personable. I get a lot of really great feedback from customers you guys have talked to, David.
Appreciate that.
It's a very, very personable experience with you guys.
It feels like ShopSabre is what I say. What my dad started, 21 years ago was the people. And Geneva feels like it's the people. Yeah, money, let's be honest. It's all about money for everybody, right? That's what the world is, right? The customer's buying the machine because they want to make money. The ShopSabre selling a machine because we need to make money. Geneva's giving you money so they can make money. So the reality is money makes it all happen. But money should not be the sole deciding factor on everything. We should be able to understand that there's good people at ShopSabre. there's good people at Geneva, and now we have a good customer. Let's make that triangle work, right? Let's all work
you get
together.
that feeling when you call us, when you call Geneva. I think people realize, like, these guys aren't here to push me. Like, these people really care about my project. They care about my finances, and they're here to help me. And I think that's pretty clear when you talk to us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I appreciate that. And you guys have said it. Let's invest some time on this deal. Let's talk about it. 10, 20 minutes. Let me get to know you a little bit. Everybody's got a different situation. Everybody looks at money a little differently. And trying to think of the things that really make us different. I know and I have confidence every day that when my credit analyst sits down, Connor, if you're listening, that his mindset is, how do we find a way to get this deal done?
Say
so does
yes.
it need to be money down? Does it need to be a short term?
Yep.
Do we need to get some income verification to round out the picture? Let's not make a snap, unless it's a great judgment. This is a perfect deal. Let's make a snap judgment there. But if it feels like it could use a little extra legwork to make sure that we're putting the best terms possible in front of the customer, and typically the result is a lot of high fives. The customers are happy. We're getting deals done. They're appreciative of the terms. Everybody feels like it's fair and competitive. We're not always the cheapest, but if we're talking about 5.5% versus 4.5%, it's $30 a month on,
let's be
on a
honest.
$60,000 machine.
That
So,
doesn't happen often. I'll be honest. I've seen people shop you guys. It doesn't happen often. I mean, you guys are pretty competitive. I mean, I'll be honest. There's a lot of banks out there. My favorite's the banks, and David, you can speak to this. How many banks? We go to banks suck, right? Banks suck. And then you end up talking to your bank. They're like, oh, I can get you at 2.5%. And then you're like, no, you can't. And they're like, no, I can get them at 2.5%. No, you can't. That doesn't exist. So then we give it to you, David, and you run the numbers, and they're like, yeah, maybe lease rated. If we look at it, from a lease rate standpoint or whatever, we might be able to get it down to 2.5%, but the real rate is you're paying 7%. And the problem is the customers don't know. Like, customers don't even check their payment. I've had customers come to me and say, the competitor got me at, 2.5%. Okay, what's your payment on their machine? $700 a month. Okay, what kind of machine is it? It's this. We run the numbers.
That's 13%.
Yeah, like you're paying 13%. Where did they get 2.5?
Right.
Well, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, you want to see what 2.5% looks like on a payment? And then David runs a payment, and we're like, that's 2.5%. What do you mean it's supposed to be $400? Yeah, like you're way off there, buddy. You got to be careful on that stuff, and that's why I like working with Geneva, is because I know they're doing right by the customer. They expect, I think it's to our own fault here, David. Like, we all kind of just on the honor system, like we expect everybody to check our work. So we're honest with them up front. We give them the numbers up front. We expect them to check us, so we don't hide stuff. We don't want to get caught. Nobody wants to get caught lying to somebody.
People are busy, and sometimes there's just fly through the paperwork. And that's where it boils down. I know you guys do it. Spend the time, talk through it, make sure that everybody's on the same page, because everybody comes to me and says, I want to finance over the longest term with the least amount down at the absolute lowest rate. And I get that mentality, especially if you're a consumer. That's like when we, bought a home or vehicle. That's kind of how I look at money. But as a business, if this $50,000 is a drop in the bucket and something that you could stroke a check for, it's probably not the best setup to go 5 years with nothing down. Put 25% down, run the balance over 2 years. That way, you're still cash flowing the payment each month. The machine is paying for itself 2, 3, 10 times over, but your finance charges are razor thin when you're putting some money down and running it on a short term. So let's have a conversation, talk through it, and set it up in a way that makes sense for your business.
And that's something that, that's a good point of it, but, David, you know a lot about this stuff. So who the heck is David? I mean, everybody hears, we just introduced David, and we never even gave David a chance to talk about himself. So, David, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you said you have a family. You said 3 kids.
I'm just a dude.
You're just a dude.
Just a dude. So I've been with Geneva for 7 years. Was born in '85, so I'm 36 years old.
There you go.
Pushing that 40 soon.
Yeah, went from Wilmer, Minnesota originally, about 2 hours west of here. Married, live in Alexandria now. Went to St. Cloud State. Is where I went to school.
There we go.
Boy can party, we know
There you go.
that.
You know that now.
Right.
All right, he's from Alexandria. So anybody listening, just so you're aware, because not everybody knows where Alexandria is, he drove at like 2.5 hours to get here?
2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours to get here today to be with us. So that's pretty awesome. We have to appreciate that. You
And
know,
today is a 10 out of 10 Minnesota Gold summer day.
yeah,
So
perfect day. He would have been off at 2 normally.
Right.
Been gone golfing by now.
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
But no, really, I mean, yeah, you got a family, 3 kids, boys, girls. What do you?
Yep. So I've got a daughter, 6, Addie, I think is her name.
I think that's what we call that one.
Ellery is 4 and have a 1-year-old son, Cohen.
Uh-oh.
So got
Young
a
one.
puppy, Winnie, that fought against forever. Dad didn't want the dog.
Uh-oh.
Mom
usually how it
forced the
goes.
dog until Dad just laid over and said, well, fine, we'll take this dog. And of course, now Dad takes care of the dog. Nobody likes the dog, but Dad loves the dog.
And that
There we
dog
go.
loves you, huh?
That
There we
dog
go.
loves me.
That's how it works. See, I always said, my wife tells me we're going to do something. I say we're not going to do it, and then we compromise and we do exactly what my wife said. That's how it works. You know?
Same way in my house.
Yeah, so that's
pretty
how it
similar.
works. We compromise to give her what she wants.
It seems like all 3 of us run around our houses.
Yeah, exactly. Our wives run the house, exactly.
Yep. So from Alec, but been with Geneva for 7 years. You know, we've been in this market for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
I do specifically CNC machine tool type assets. As you guys are aware, a couple other companies that I serve out of the Midwest. So just really fortunate. Have a great book of business. Work with awesome customers all day in these different, metal fab, woodworking type industries. So every day brings kind of a new challenge, but certainly we've been partnered since 2020, relatively in its infancy, but.
But we did a lot of deals before, but just not in the partnership stage. We've dealt with
Right.
them for years, but it wasn't a full-time partnership. And finally, David and I connected, and we're like, why not? Like, right? Why not? And the one thing I think that I like to point out that, David, you just admitted to it, that you work in CNC specifically. So you know the market. You see the difference between quality CNC machines and some of the lacking ones out there. And unfortunately, I'm sure, David, you can comment as much as you want to here, and I'm not asking for company names ever, so we'll keep those quiet. But the difference is you probably have gotten calls from companies that are not treating their customers so right, and they got a loan on the machine. And, I'm sure it's come up a time or two, probably.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, we'll keep the names, to ourselves for the time being. And obviously there's a lot of major players in the market, a lot of really great tools out there as well, some comparably priced, but the quality to price ratio is something that's really important to look at. And you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a good system.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to compare machine tools apples to apples. And that's, one of the things that I really like about working with you guys is you just fit this really great segment within the industry, so you can work, on these real big format 6x12 routers. So you work with some real big shops that are investing in your machines, but you also have a solution for that customer that we really like, which is that younger business.
Yeah.
So whether it's a $15,000, $25,000, $40,000 router, you have a machine that fits a price point, comfort zone for
Correct.
each different customer.
Some guys don't want to go out and buy a house to put in their shop, right? You don't want to spend a $250,000 price on a CNC machine because you're not even sure that this is what the direction you were going, right? I mean, you want to get into a CNC without the crazy overhead. And, let's talk about that a little bit. Geneva Capital has a lot of options. And, one thing I love is that, they have no money down options. The no money down option. Like, I hear some guys like, well, I don't have a whole lot of money to put down right now. Good news. You don't have to.
We got an option for you.
Yeah, like you don't always have to put money down. Now, again, as David alluded to earlier, like sometimes it makes sense to put money down because, my favorite's the guy who's like, I don't finance anything because I have the money in the bank. So why not use somebody else's money?
Right.
Right? You're telling me your business is successful as it. Geez, that word got me there.
That way he's struggling.
Successful. Geez. So, you're telling me you're that successful, but I got the word that time. Did you see that?
I did.
Did you guys see that? That was.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I'm proud
impressed.
of you.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
Thanks. I'm gonna get a little sticker on the sticker chart tonight.
You're going to get some.
But the reality is, if you're that successful, the machine should be able to pay for itself. It's no different than hiring an employee.
Right.
They can't cover their costs. It's not worth having, right?
Right.
it should be able to cover its costs, right?
Pretty easily.
It's pretty easy. It's cheaper than your employee, so that's a good way to do it. The no money down option is a great way. I've seen, David, you got options for 30, 60, 90-day deferrals, right?
Correct. Yep.
And obviously it's case by case, business by business. Let me put the little asterisk here that you can't read. Like, it's all subject to credit approval, so nobody call me up and yell at me.
This does not apply to everybody. Each case will be taken situation by situation.
Thank you very much, Jesse, for getting that in there. But, that's the reality is we have deferral options. They're really great. You can talk about those a little bit if you want, David. But the other thing, seasonal payments. That was something that I thought was pretty cool. That you were talking about the seasonal payment options for, and not necessarily in the CNC. We don't see it a lot in the CNC world. There's not a lot of a lot of seasonal stuff. But let's be honest, you guys finance other equipment too, and there's certain things that fall into seasonal world, right?
Right. And the theme, what I learn every day is every business is different, and everybody looks at money differently. Yeah. And I've heard the same questions or the same story hundreds of times, but it boils down to having that conversation to try and structure something that makes sense for your individual situation. Like we said, all this is subject to credit approval, and sometimes we need to take some money down. That's typically not the case, but absolutely, we'll foot the deposit on your behalf to get it into production. Yep. You can ride our dollar the entire time so that you're keeping all that cash in your pocket until you have 30, 60, 90 days even worth of machine time. The thought is that at that point, you're paying us back with dollars that the machine has generated.
Free machine.
That's huge.
Never truly digging into your own
free
pocket.
machine.
Free machine.
Free machine. Exactly. That's what we talk about. How can you make CNC affordable? Right there. The machine paid for itself, essentially. You look at, you guys have some lease to own options, correct?
Yep. Do a lot of lease to own. Lease has kind of got this negative connotation for whatever reason, but it's an extremely powerful way to set up your financing. And primary is the purchasing power of a dollar. And the example that everybody understands is a number one at McDonald's. It used to be $6.50, then it was $7.50, now I think it's $9.50. And so with each day that goes on, $1 buys a little bit less. And so with the lease to own, we simply take some amount of money, 10, 20%, maybe more, and we delay it to the very end of the term. Yep. And so it drives down your monthly payments. You pay as little as possible each month. From an income tax standpoint, the IRS typically views the payment as a simple expense for the business, so fully tax deductible through the life of the lease. At the end of the term, you can look at the technology and say, "Hey, we've outgrown this. It actually makes sense to just return it, upgrade to something new." In that case, or in that situation, kind of like a car, take your equity and roll it over towards the purchase of a new system. But more typically, people go into those lease-to-own agreements knowing that they want to buy it at the end, but why pay $1 today that you can kick down the road 3, 4, and 5 years, especially if that dollar is going to buy considerably less at that point compared to what it buys today.
Absolutely. And that's what guys, like you said, guys kind of lose track of some of that stuff. And I don't even know what he said half the time.
I'm going to be quiet over here because I'm learning.
Yeah, but the best part is that's why David exists. Like, let him help you. He'll explain it. He'll go through it with you and talk about your scenario. He's talking generalized right now. So I'm sure there's some of you guys right now in your Bobcats or we have the guy in the crane. Hopefully the crane guy didn't just fall asleep. Like,
we like
what
him.
did he just say?
We like the crane guy.
The crane guy's awesome. I like him. But the reality is when you think about it, like, we don't expect you to understand some of this stuff. Like, you should really be able to kind of depend on David. Like, trust David's going to help you work through this. And, when you talk about, taxes, you mentioned something about, your tax benefits. Let's talk about this for a quick second because Section 179, right?
Huge deal.
Huge. Like, I bet there's guys out there like, what hurts?
My head hurts.
No, it's Section 179 is what it is. And it's a tax deduction on the federal scale, correct?
Correct.
And the federal scale allows you to write off the depreciated value of your equipment at one lump sum.
Yep. In a nutshell, the cost of any machinery that you purchase for a business in a given year, you can deduct it dollar for dollar against your income for that period. So the easy math example would be if it's a $100,000 piece of equipment, and if your tax rate that you pay taxes at is, let's say, 25%, that would be a upfront savings in your very first year, $25,000 either that you're paying in lower taxes or that you save in a credit back into your pocket.
See, that's crazy. Like when you think about that, like
That's awesome.
your machine.
$5,000.
So my $40,000 machine or $50,000 machine, is going to save me a little bit of money. But let's look in this case, like you said, $100,000 machine, you're saving $25,000 off it. Correct? Is that what you just said to me?
Right.
So
That's not a small
my
amount of money.
$100,000 machine really only cost me $75,000.
That's a deal.
But it's the same price as the guy that I was hiring before, right?
Right.
And that's what I start looking at is, you can finance now, you can pay it later, and you save on your taxes.
Sounds like
I mean,
you're
there's
winning.
some winning options there, and then, when you look at Section 179, a lot of guys don't even know it exists. We have to explain it to people. And then they call you December 14th. I found out this tax thing. I should do something right now. Good idea.
Good one. Good.
Let's get something
should
done.
have this conversation probably 3
Probably should have
months
talked
ago,
about 3 months ago, but good idea. Let's get something done, right?
Right.
And as we start talking about it, I guess I went back. I said it earlier. Banks suck, right? Hopefully today we're proving not all banks suck, right? Not all banks are the same anymore. When you explain the banking world's changed significantly. I mean,
Yeah, it has.
the difference in banking today versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago is major. There's a major difference. There's a lot more buying power, I think, out there now. I mean, before you used to have to go sit down and give them all these financial statements and do so much loan application, and it would take weeks. I mean, literally, I remember guys filling out applications, and we would sit here and wait and wait and wait. Now it's like, okay, here's this link on our website. Click on it. Fill out the app. By the end of the day, they have an answer.
It's usually faster than that. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like as soon as
Yeah.
the application's submitted with you,
Half,
within 2
half
hours,
day
I
is
have.
what we try and stick to, and
Yeah.
the certainly no cost, no obligation.
Yep.
And I know you guys hate when I say this, and I tell your customers all the time, the approval's good for 90 days.
Yeah.
So if you need to sit on it a little bit,
You guys heard that. It's good for 9 days.
9 whole days.
No, but yeah, I mean, the reality is, obviously we don't want to delay purchases. I mean, let's be honest. That's why he makes that joke about us hating that, But the reality is, it's nice to know that. You can forecast out a little bit. So you could say, let's get approved today, find out where we're at. And it gives you 90 days to really get your ducks in a row. Find that building, do some of the stuff you got to do, and not worry about, oh man, the financing is only good for 15 days. Like the reality is it's really good for 90 days. Right. And ShopSabre, we try to, and we're only one manufacturer. I can't speak for everybody out there, but we try to honor our prices as long as we can until the world doesn't let us anymore.
Right.
Right now, let's with everything going on in the world right now, we've only raised our price the one time this year. We haven't really had to chase, steel prices is going up every single week.
Right, and that's something we talk about a lot is we've done everything we can in-house to make sure the price stays where it's at. We haven't raised prices to meet supply and demand.
Yep.
We've kept it here, which I think has been huge.
Yeah, and that's, and the reason we're doing it is because we're trying to help people benefit from the low interest rates right now. There's a lot of low interest rates out there. I mean, you guys are offering rates that, when I started here, I think about financing 10 plus years ago, there was rates, good rates were dang near 10% for our equipment. And that was good. I mean, if you thought you were going to get better, you were crazy. Like, we're half that nowadays, and it's like, it's unheard of. Like, guys are like, I can get to 2%. This isn't a house.
Right.
You're not getting to 2% under this. I'm sorry. Unless you're putting a line of credit in place where people seem to forget that you're putting your house up. You're putting your collateral up. Like, these are no collateral situations. I mean, the reality is the business
no
is
outside collateral. Yep.
Yeah. Think about that. Like, everybody listening, that brand new shiny boat that you just bought is not collateral on the CNC machine. Your house is not collateral on the CNC machine. Like, tell Mrs. Jones that she's not going to lose her new kitchen. Like, I promise you.
And if you're worried about what should I get, the CNC machine or the boat, do what the right order is and get the CNC machine first, so that makes the money to just buy the boat.
I need a bigger boat. We found that out.
Yeah,
a
your
couple
Lund
weeks
is
ago.
running out of room. We talked about your Lund carrying CNC machines, and it doesn't work. So
No,
12
we need a
foot
bigger
Lund.
boat. Maybe you can help me with that, David.
Yeah, there we go. But the reality is, like you said, pick the order you're going to buy things. Let the CNC machine pay for the boat.
Makes
I'm
sense.
going to be honest, the inner child inside of me, as soon as he said, if you're going to buy the boat or the CNC, I was like, let's buy the boat.
Exactly.
I heard buy boat.
Yeah, I heard buy boat. I heard
yeah.
nothing else. But the truth is, you let the CNC machine pay for the boat. And that's the
Right.
difference, is the boat loses money. The CNC machine makes you money. Think about that for a second. Before you go, guys always say, I'm going to go buy a new pickup truck. Okay, well, you're going to lose like a third of your money the minute you leave the lot, and then
Right.
some deer is going to run out in front of you 2 miles on the road and you lost it all. So great job on that. Trust me, a deer's not running out in front of the CNC machine. Like, let the CNC machine pay for the truck, Let's get there, and we don't live in the 90s anymore. Banks aren't the same as they used to be. Let's give them a chance. I always say that, give the guys a chance here. He'll explain why using his money is better than using your own money. Like, David, you've gone through it many times. Like, let me explain, right?
It's tough to find a scenario where that's not the case, and at minimum, let's have the conversation so that we can go through how you view about money. But like you said, leverage our dollar if need be on a short term. Keep your interest thin, but when you work with us, at the end of the day, we try and earn every bit of business that we get. And so all we want is the opportunity to show you what we can do, how we can partner with you, and let you make an educated buying decision from there.
So how do we get approved, I guess, is the next question. Jesse, how can we get approved?
Well, there's a web app. I know that, right?
Yep, got
Or
the
I
web
can
app.
call you directly.
Yep.
Awesome.
Email.
Where can I find
Email.
this information, Jesse?
You can find it on our ShopSabre webpage.
Yep, we have a financing tab at the top.
We do.
You can click on it. We have a payment calculator.
Yes,
we have
sir.
a quick app. You can get finance that way, and it will actually bring your information right to David. David's contact information is also on our webpage, so you can get it there.
It's also in the emails we send with the quote as
Yep,
well.
you can contact any of the sales consultants here, any of the guys here, and we even have a new fancy kiosk here.
Yeah, tell us about that, David. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, swing by. So if you're coming to demo days here next month,
Yeah,
14th, 15th,
there we go.
16th?
13th, 14th,
14th, 15th.
We have
Yeah,
one day
14th,
off there.
15th, yeah.
We don't work Fridays like you, right?
That's right.
No, just kidding.
So yeah, swing by and see it. It looks great. iPad plugged in, but you can apply right there. We also have a stack of the paper applications, which I'm kind of that way, a little old school. Just do it with an ink pen and
No
snap
paper
in,
apps for me.
No.
An email picture, but. Big picture, our process is a couple hour turnaround. If we need something else, we'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll get you numbers same day in writing, accurate to the penny, good for 90 days.
Come check us out. Basically, you come here, check us out. It's like a car dealership. You walk in, see how awesome we are. High five Jesse in the face with a chair because he's got this ugly beard.
Whoa!
And then you come and fill out an app. We have the kiosk. And then you do that. You get approved. You buy the CNC machine. And boom, you're making money.
And then your wife's happy.
You got to
Anyway,
give this beard some time. It's just
No.
started, yeah.
Okay,
you
well,
got to give it just a little.
I don't
bit
really
of
have a
time.
choice. Not like I can shave you, but don't even go there. We're not doing it. No, not happening.
Next time.
Live on
Next
next
time.
week's
Next time.
podcast.
Next time. Yeah, and now Garrett has finally woke up from his nap. He was sleeping at his chair. I'm pretty sure. I saw his eyes closed. He was laying back in his chair, or he was texting, one of the two. I can't tell, but he was really quiet there for a little
Like
bit.
he's a little sleepy.
Yeah, I think he was a little sleepy there. But, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, hopefully this episode kind of talked to you a little bit. How do we make CNC affordable? There's multiple ways you can make it affordable. The machine itself is affordable. Financing it makes it really affordable.
Right.
And I think right now is the time to do it. So if you've been thinking about CNC, you got any ideas about CNC, explore it. Now is the time to do it.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Make a call. It costs nothing. It takes very little time.
Give us a
and
shout. Go to
you will learn
ShopSabre.com.
something.
I know
Let's
that.
all level up together.
Yeah, we don't try to promote ShopSabre exclusive. We do, let's be honest. We're
Yeah,
ShopSabre
we
people.
love
but
ShopSabre.
The reality is, go to ShopSabre.com. Check us out. Like I said, there's a lot of cool information out there. Like I said, hopefully Jesse will find a razor this week and shave that beard.
I think we're going to let it go. We
have
might
a
run
feeling-
this past Christmas.
Oh, my God. I don't know if we are going to have a new person on the podcast moving forward if this is the case.
That's not going to happen.
Jesse
guys.
decided to accept a different
I'm a
job
lot bigger
offer.
than Brandon.
This is true.
Hey, Brandon, I got an idea.
What's that?
Let's do rapid fire questions with David.
Ooh, David, you ready for rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're going to just throw some questions at you, and we just want what comes to mind, okay?
All right.
You want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll fire it
All
off.
right, you fire it off.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Favorite food?
Tacos.
There you go.
Waffles or French toast?
Waffles.
Favorite color?
Black.
Black's not a color. It's a
How
shade.
boring. Favorite movie? Oh, you're worse at this than Router Bob was.
Oh, there's just so many good ones. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, he threw something out there finally. He regrets
wanna
it.
take it back?
Yeah, he
Sounds like
regrets
you
his
regret it.
decision. Yeah.
I was
Go
going to say
ahead.
Great Gatsby, but I'm embarrassed to say that.
That's a good one. Great Gatsby. I like it.
Fitting.
Yeah. Favorite sport?
Hockey.
There we go.
Favorite band or artist?
Ooh. AC/DC.
Favorite non-pornographic website?
Google.
You can't Google it because it's the same thing. It should have been ShopSabre.com.
The answer we were looking for.
I was going to say,
The answer we were looking for
is
is
there
ShopSabre.
such a thing?
But
Do you play any musical instruments, David?
I do play the guitar.
Yeah.
Yep, been playing guitar for on and off for probably 20 years. Was a all-state tuba player.
Let's go.
There we go. All state. I love it.
I had to ask. That's one of the questions me and David bonded over. I kind of peeked on his
Yeah.
Facebook page when we started
Creeper.
talking, and I
Yeah.
saw the
Creeper. Peanut butter and jelly.
Together.
There we go.
Nice answer.
Good answer.
I like it. Favorite vacation destination?
Jamaica.
There we go. Cookies with milk or without?
I don't think I've ever eaten a cookie without a glass of milk next to it.
Thank you.
What?
High five that, brother. Thank
Oh,
you.
man. You were so excited.
So excited to knock
You
my
just
mic
knocked
over.
your mic off the table. That was
I
impressive.
never get a win in here.
That was true. Man, I really did not see that come. On that note, I think this episode's over.
It's wrapped up.
It's been fun, guys. We'll be back next week. I'm Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.